If you play Rocket League, this probably looks familiar. And that's okay. Believe it or not, being able to read wall bounces is one of the hardest aspects of Rocket League without a doubt. Then add in having to quickly aerial and control your car to go meet the ball before your opponent, and it's no wonder why these clips look like you at least once a game. But I'm here to help. In this video, we're going to go over some general information on how the ball bounces, then we'll go over some general advice for wall reads, and lastly, I'm going to send you on your way with what's probably the best way to practice your wall reads. All of this combined, and you're going to pretty much go from bronze to Supersonic Legend in like 2 days because this is the best video you've ever watched, so leave a like on it right now, thank you, and subscribe. And let's get into it. Understanding how the ball bounces off the wall is important. It's never going to change, and because of that, this information just might make it start to click in your brain, at least a little bit. When the ball bounces off of a sidewall or a backboard, there's 2 or 3 things to take into consideration when trying to figure out where it's going to go. The first is whether the ball was moving upwards or downwards when it hit the wall. To keep things as simple and understandable as possible, when the ball hits the wall and it's moving downwards or straight at the wall, the ball will never come off of the wall higher than where it bounced. On the other hand, if the ball is still traveling upwards when it hits the wall, it will in most scenarios in Rocket League just ever so slightly bounce off the wall higher than where it hit the wall. The only time this isn't completely true is when the ball hits the curved parts of the wall on the top, bottom, or corners of the map. You'll get better at reading those pesky quarter bounces over time as you continue to rack up experience. So, if the ball is traveling straight at the wall or downwards, we know it's going to bounce downwards, and you'll want to position your car lower than where it bounced to get a solid hit. If the ball is traveling upwards towards the wall, it will barely bounce upwards off the wall and very quickly level out to where it bounced. So generally aim for positioning your car at the same height of where the ball bounced if it's traveling upwards. The second big thing to consider when reading where the ball is going to end up after bouncing is why you haven't subscribed or left a like on the video yet. And the third thing to consider is how fast the ball was when it was traveling towards the wall. The faster the ball hits the wall, the faster and further the ball is going to come off the wall. This is kind of common sense, but it's something you need to hear, and it's something that could help you in the long run. So this means that the faster the ball is traveling towards the wall, the further out from the wall you'll want to position your car for the read, and the slower the ball, the less you can expect it to travel from the wall, and the closer to the wall you want to position your car. Again, I know for a lot of you this may have seemed like pretty general knowledge, but in truth, a lot of the time when learning anything new, it doesn't hurt to go over the bare basics that you may have just brushed off when really there might be something in there that just makes something click for you. And now that we've gone over those basics, I can give you some general advice for being more consistent at wall reads through your positioning and decision making. So there's probably 2 general pieces of advice that I think will be really helpful for a lot of you that I want to share that have to do with discipline and restraint. The first being that you don't have to try to read the bounce off the wall insanely fast. A lot of people think that they have to go try to get into the air as fast as possible and read any bounce coming off the wall as soon as someone hits it. Professional players really don't even do that. Maybe sometimes if the situation really calls for it, but realistically not often. And until you're even approaching Supersonic Legend, you'll get a lot more out of taking the extra second to wait until you're confident on reading the bounce than you will going up early for a read and whiffing or getting a really bad touch. And I know this is a video on wall reads and bounces, but everything in Rocket League, every skill set is intertwined. And I think the more important thing to do than going up as early as possible for every bounce is to develop the skill of keeping an eye on your opponent and what they're doing. If you watch your opponent and they're not up for a ball, then why not let the ball come down to a more readable position, to a position that gives you more options to do something, and to a position where you don't have to use all of your boot. And if you're keeping an eye on your opponent, then as soon as you see them go up, you can go up and challenge or even beat them to the ball if the situation calls for it. That would be the smart thing to do. On the other hand, you could go up as early as possible before anyone else goes, so you're not actually beating anyone to the ball and taking anyone out of the play. You could do that. It might work sometimes, but not enough for you to actually start ranking up. And once you come across better, smarter players, as soon as they see you go up, they're not gonna go up. They're just gonna wait and take possession of whatever touch you make. So unless you make some miraculous play by going up super early for a ball in the air, you're likely just gonna be feeding the ball back to the opposing team. So again, you shouldn't always go up ASAP for every wall bounce. Most of the time, letting the ball come down to you gives you more options and will be more deadly. The second piece of advice I have for everyone is if you have to aerial nearly straight upwards for a ball, it's almost always better to not go. Usually, if you're straight underneath a ball, it's not your ball to go for and it's not your turn in the rotation to go for the ball. 99.9% of the time, it'll be much better to just rotate out and let someone in a better position go for the ball. I'm sorry for lecturing you about positioning and decision making in a video where you just wanted to learn tips on how to better read the ball when it bounces off of walls. But like I said earlier, if you actually want to improve and rank up and go far in Rocket League, you have to realize that while just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. There's often a better and more effective way to deal with a certain situation. However, now that I've hopefully educated your decision making on when to go for a sidewall or backboard read, I'll show you the best ways to practice improving these reads. I've taken the time to personally make a training pack to practice reading the ball as it bounces off sidewalls, backboards, and in multiple real game scenarios. The code will be on screen as well as in the description. Besides custom training packs that force you to read sidewall bounces, a simple and great way to practice these bounces in free play is to simply use Bacchus mod, or I believe there's an in-game control now to send the ball flying to the backboard and practice scoring from positions you would see in game like you're seeing on screen. Well guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you learned something and I hope you'll utilize this information in the training pack I created to improve your wall reads over time. But remember, if you didn't subscribe and leave a like on the video, it's all worthless. Oh, and you know what? You might as well follow me on Twitch and join our Discord. You know what? Just click all the links in the description actually. Alright, stay positive guys, and I'll see you in the next video.